Grimby,
Present.
Leighton Sigby,
Present.
Mark Lorenz,
Present.
Owen Doyle,
Present.
Emily Beckley,
Present.
Aiden Burns,
Present.
Michaela Flanagan,
Present.
Franco Ramondi,
Present.
Ian Chenoweth,
Here.
Billy Robinson,
Here.
Riley Sedlin,
Present.
Sophia Behrens,
Present.
Debbie Westfall,
Present.
Allison Frizo,
Here.
Matthew Miria,
Here.
Emma Picard,
Here.
Gwyneth Oksuma,
Present.
Phoebe Lurch,
Here.
Isa Saki,
Here.
Here.
Srihar Tandy, Nathan Ross,
Here.
Tina Nelson,
Here.
Ron Shen,
Here.
Genevieve Brown,
Here.
Stephanie Okingo,
Present.
Ian Fiona,
Here.
Lauren Snyder,
Here.
Alex Buck,
Here.
Dylan Levesque, Rolls and Paul.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary Schaus. Moving on to form of concerns. Yes, you may come up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Blake Harms. I'm the general manager at WVUR, the university radio station. Submitted a few line item requests that I had the chance to talk to Finance Committee about earlier this evening. We have one for just over $1,000 that we'd like to go from our ongoing organizational functions, our athletics, to our office supplies. Essentially, a lot of our budget is athletics and the travel that's associated with that. Obviously, with COVID this year, our broadcasters were not able to stay in hotels per university policy, so we saved a lot in that regard, and overall costs were down. So we wanted to take advantage of that and use that funding to purchase some much needed upgrades to our station to help us in the future. One of the biggest purchases was for microphones and headsets. Obviously, we're a radio station, so those are important pieces of equipment, and ours have been beginning to fail on us. So that was for the first line item shift. The second one was for also from ongoing organizational functions around athletics to our promotional advertising. That was for around $3,500. And the reason for that was we were hoping to get some professionally produced imaging, jingles, IDs for our radio station. We've been using the same imaging, especially in our sports, for close to 15 years. We think it's time for an upgrade. Garrett and our sports staff have done a fantastic job of upgrading the professionality of our broadcast. We think this would even go even further. This is a one-time purchase. We feel as though this is something that will elevate the status of our station. We are legally required to say our call sign and where we're broadcasting from by the FCC once an hour, and so those will go towards that as well. And then the third item was for uniforms. Our athletics department is the ones who'll be using it most, but also our overall staff. We don't have any uniforms right now. We'd like to purchase some polos that are labeled, and then we would have folks who want to check them out. Basically, they would go through the general manager, and then they'd be borrowed. They would be station property, just borrowed by athletic staff and other executive board members. So with that, thank you for your time, and hopefully we can get those items approved. So thank you.
Thank you, Blake, for coming to our meeting and speaking at form of concerns. Do we have any form of concerns online? Are there any more in person? Seeing none, moving on to approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? All right, agenda has been approved. Moving on to Senate superlatives. So much fun.
That wasn't enthusiastic at all. You're like,
No, this is my favorite part. I love superlatives. Okay, you want to introduce what superlatives?
Yeah, for those of you guys who are watching or new to this, basically we filled out the form and it's like most likely to, best, all that fun stuff. It's just a really good way to commemorate the year and the work that we've done as student senators. So our first superlative, most likely to say point of order, goes to Senator Franco Raimondi. Woo!
So you can come up and
Come get your
get
certificate.
your certificate. Yes, come on up.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna This one?
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to do this? one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Our next is for best debater, and that goes to Senator Ian McMillan. Woo! Come on up.
Congratulations, Ian.
Thanks.
It's a good thing.
All right, our next one goes to Senator Sophia Behrens for greatest strides.
Our next superlative is most likely to make an informed vote, and this goes to Senator Ian Chenoweth.
Yes, too.
Oh. I also have another one for Ian. He got best new committee chair, so congratulations.
This next superlative is best smile, and it goes to Dean Ryan Blevins.
Is that because we're wearing a mask all year?
All right. This next award is most likely to open the floor to the executive board. And this goes to Senator Allison Parizo.
All right, this next one is, they have 2 awards. The first is most likely to own a tent. And these are go to Executive Treasurer Mark Lorenz. And the second superlative is most likely to be CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Congratulations, sir.
All right. This next award is new member MVP, and this goes to Senator Emily Dockery. She also has another award, and it's underclassmen most likely to be student body president. So congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the 3rd year in a row, best dress goes to Jolie Four. Congratulations.
All right. Our next award is most likely to be president of the United States. And this goes to President Caitlin Steinheiser. I also have another award for President Caitlin Steinheiser, and this is Student Senate MVP. Thank you for everything you've done this year for Senate. Oh, you're missing my heart. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for participating in our superlatives. It's always just fun to do that at the end of the year. All right. Back to the boring meeting. Moving on to senator reports. Any senator reports tonight? All right, moving on to advisors reports.
All I would like to say is thank you all for your service to this community this past year as student senators. It has been a very high point for me and a very interesting and chaotic year is working with the individuals in this room. So I thank you for your commitment to our community and for those returning. Congratulations and looking forward to continuing to work with you as well. I've been asked if I would say a few words about our treasurer, and I'll be happy to do so. I've actually prepared a small presentation, but I'm going to wait and present that to those who are interested in seeing this presentation at the conclusion of tonight's Senate meeting, because it absolutely probably should not be live streamed. So in that regard of things. So it's going to be great, Mark. It's going to be great in that regard of things. So thank you all for your service. I appreciate it. Your community appreciates it. It's been one of the most productive years I've seen on Student Senate in my 13 years here at Valparaiso, and I'm very, very excited for what the future holds for this group as well. So thank you.
All right, moving on to officer reports. President Steinheiser.
So normally I would give this speech at the Student Senate banquet, but since we didn't do that, I'm going to do it here as my final president's report. Today marks the end of my term as student body president and my 4-year tenure in Valparaiso University's Student Senate. I came to Valpo knowing that I wanted to be in student government. In fact, in the first ever Facebook Messenger conversation I ever had with Paige before we were even roommates, I was talking about Student Senate. She has the receipts for anybody who wants to see that. With this being my last president's report to the Senate, I'd like to share the two most valuable lessons that I've learned through Student Senate regarding student leadership and public service. Number one, your constituents should always come first. None of us would be in this room right now without our fellow students. We're not elected or appointed to serve faculty members, staff members, alumni, or administrators. Members of these other campus constituencies often see how efficient and bold our Student Senate can be, so they turn to us to address issues affecting them. Frankly, it's not your job to solve their problems. In fact, some of their solutions are in direct contrast to what your constituents may want. I highly suggest working with other campus constituencies if their views align with that of the student body. However, always remember who you were elected to serve. The second lesson I've learned from Student Senate is that there's always room for growth. Every student senator should constantly be listening to their constituents to learn how we can make our university a better place. Student Senate legislation is powerful. It carries weight. If you feel as though your constituents are concerned about something that can only be addressed through an SR, a bylaw proposal, or a constitutional amendment, do not let anyone stop you from writing that legislation. And when it gets to the floor, make sure that you're ready to fight for it. The true power of Student Senate lies with the senators. Speaking of room for growth, I'd be remiss if I didn't discuss the fact that our campus has ample room for growth when it comes to tolerance and inclusion. This year, I've been called everything from the C word to the fascist leader of the race inquisition by members of our university community. Most of this hate came after we decided to retire the mascot. Many responded to the hate I was facing on social media by saying that the university should have protected me by not allowing me to be a part of the mascot retirement process. If any of you find yourself in a position of leadership similar to my own, and I know for a fact that some of you will, please do not let hateful people prevent you from doing your job and representing the student body to the best of your ability. We have a long way to go to make our campus welcoming to everyone, but we can't make impactful changes if students aren't present in these important discussions. Thankfully, I know that your next student body president is someone who will always amplify the voices of her constituents. Jolie is one of the most thoughtful, dedicated student leaders I have ever met. Not only have I appreciated her diligent work as my vice president, but I'm so grateful for her friendship. Although I'm passing the torch to Jolie tonight, please know that the memories I've made in the Student Senate will stay with me long after I graduate. I can only hope that you all will feel the same way when your time in Student Senate comes to an end. Thank you, and report.
Thank you, President Seinheiser, for that wonderful, wonderful speech. All right, moving on to my report. I don't really have much. I am really thankful that I was able to be vice president this semester, and I'm even more excited for next year to serve as your student body president. Thank you to everyone who participated in the elections and took part in the democratic process. And I look forward to working with a lot of you next year. All right, moving on to Secretary Mostasny. So when I told Caitlin I had no report tonight, she said, absolutely not, and claimed I had valuable information to pass on to senators as a graduating senior. So here I am. After 3 years of trying to figure out how to correctly load your nameplates into my printer and never once getting it right the first time and wasting a ton of ink, I am grateful nonetheless to have been your secretary for 3 years. Since I've never been a senator, you can take my advice with a grain of salt, but I've had the pleasure of watching what works and what doesn't. So I made a list of things to share with each of you. So what works? Arguing with each other. Speak up. We really only find our flaws and our strengths if we actually talk about stuff. For real, nothing should ever pass without at least a little discussion. Hang out with each other. Go get dinner, work on legislation together, go to a bar crawl, whatever. You'll only be as engaged as you make yourself, which is true in most areas of life. And then the last thing that works, emailing the secretary when you're absent and answering Chris's polls or emails or video requests or whatever he's doing this week. What doesn't work? Putting your own feelings above your position. Don't do this. Go by our governance docs, read through them, read about your position, and serve as in your respective role. If you don't like what's in the governance docs, change them. Don't overlook problems. Hold each other accountable. It's never personal. And the last thing that doesn't work is dressing nicer than the university president. Crazy. I don't know why that happened. I want to thank Caitlin for teaching me everything I know, for all the senators whose motions I accidentally miss in the minutes because I zone out for a sec, and the timing of these meetings that have gotten me out of the last 30 minutes of my Monday night classes for the past 3 years. End report. Thank you, Secretary Messassini. Moving on to PRC Grumpy.
I don't have a farewell speech, so don't mind me. So for those of you who will be returning as senators next year, I have included in the minutes a survey to fill out. It's just your bio. It's just the same thing as that I always ask for. After that, then I am also working on a kind of a wrap up of this year, a little video montage. So if you've been asked to say a few words, I believe I almost got everyone except Gwyneth. So just be on the lookout for that next week. That's pretty much it if no one has any questions. And report.
Thank you, PRC Grumpy. Moving on to Executive Treasurer Mark Lorenz.
Hello, everyone. Just want a reminder that encumbrance requests are due this Friday, May 7th. And then I just want to say thank you to all of you for the work you've done this semester. Thank you to the e-board members for all the work you guys do. Thank you, Ryan and Steve, for letting me bother you during your office hours about questions. And I do want to say special thanks to Owen for stepping up and taking this position and being a great ally during this process. So thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Lorenz. Moving on to committee reports. Executive Committee President Steinheiser.
I really appreciate all of the work that the executive committee has done this year. And I talked to the committee chairs a little bit about that during our meeting today. So I would just like to focus on the appointed executive board that I've had the pleasure of working with over the past year. Chris, I am so proud of how much you've grown this year. Thank you for keeping your finger on the pulse of student opinion always, and for never, ever letting senators forget who elect them. Mark and Owen, you guys are the glue that holds Student Senate together. I'm pretty much convinced that Mark spends more time in the Senate office than he does in his dorm. Seriously, you can catch him there at like 7 a.m. sometimes. Thank you for your tireless work and for making sure our students' money is spent responsibly. And Paige, I still can't believe I convinced you to join Student Senate 3 years ago. You've influenced every single piece of legislation that has come through the Senate this year. Thank you for making sure that our resolutions set the bar high for future Senates. Also, thanks for listening to me talk about Senate every night for the past 4 years, for not letting me eat ice cream even when Student Senate stresses me out, and for being my best friend. Thank you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you all.
Thank you, President Steinheiser. Moving on to Finance Committee, Senator Parizo.
I also, like Chris, don't have a farewell speech. I have line item shifts for you all. So, so the first one today is from the American Society of Civil Engineers. They want to move money from environmental design, concrete design, geotechnical design, materials design, HSS tubing, and welding material for a total of $1,180 to construction equipment. They say because of COVID, we could not travel to competitions and compete. After working on projects this year, we realized we need to update and overhaul over 10-year-old equipment to prepare for next year's competitions. This includes drills, sanders, other tools, and organizational equipment. Oh, sorry, 400.
All in favor, please, no, sorry. What am I doing? There's no second. Oh, I need a second. Yeah, okay, thank you. All in favor, please raise your placards. Two, 23, I think 24. Okay, this is approved 24. Oh wait, abstentions. Wait, what is it called? No.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Okay. All opposed. That's what it was. Okay. All right. This passes 24-0.
And then our second one of the night is from VUTV. They want to move from conferences and sponsored events, their BEA conference, $687.11 to their equipment line. They will be transferring funds from the conference line since the conference has moved online this year and is at no cost to students. The money will be used to purchase studio talent monitors for talent to see VO and VSOTs. And finance voted 4-0-0.
Is there any motion? Is there a second? All right. All in favor, please raise your placard. All opposed? Abstentions? All right, this passes 24-0-0.
Alrighty, and now finally we have the ones that were brought up by Blake earlier in Forum of Concerns from WVUR. The first one is a line item shift request for $3,590.77 from women's basketball to promotions and advertising. Because of COVID-19, our expenses for traveling for sporting events this year has been less. Thus, we have decided to make a sports-related purchase, professionally produced cuts/IDs for on-air use during athletics. This purchase will go to making these happen, and finance voted 4-0-0 on this.
Is there a motion to discuss?
Yes.
Second?
Sorry.
All right, the floor is open to discussion. Someone have any comments? Yes, Senator Chenoweth.
Yes, there are. There are one more line item shift, and then actually there are two. Sorry. Yeah, 3 in total.
Assuming all of those are spent, how much is left in the budget? If they haven't spent?
Oh, yeah. Can someone motion to open the floor? Okay, Franco, seconded by Ian. Go ahead.
So based on the meeting we had with WVUR on Thursday, with the comments requests that are submitted, that they're planning to submit, if all those are able to be approved, it would be most of their remaining budget. We have a few $100 left over. And how much total are they asking to move on?
How much total are
What was
they
the
asking to move around? Like how much money are they trying to move?
There's one for $3,590.77, and the other line item shift is for $1,072.85. And then there's like one encumbrance type thing that.
So is this most of their budget? Yes, I would assume so.
With the requests that have either been submitted already or plan to be submitted, it would be, if everything were to pass, which is that to follow our Senate bylaws, then it would be most of the remaining budget is to be spent.
Senator McMillan?
I just want to mention that even if it is most of their budget, they're running out of time to spend this money anyhow. So if they can spend it now and get it out of the way, this is eliminating potential CapEx in the future. One way or another, they're going to need to buy equipment and probably need to do the promotional things. So in my eyes, if they can spend it this year, it's completely independent of next year's budget.
Senator Behrens?
Allison, could you repeat what materials they're buying for promotions and advertising?
It doesn't really list it on here. The packet that they gave us mentioned headsets, microphones, and then like a stand for like on-air use.
Yes, Senator McMillan.
That was for the second line item shift. For the first
Okay.
two, promotions and advertising, they were looking to buy mostly the professionally mixed like audio tags and stuff that radio stations typically use, like the introductions and stuff. That was what he had mentioned were 10 to 15 years old and out of date. And so to have new ones, they would probably last as long, if not longer.
Senator
He
Rob.
talked to us in our meeting as well.
Okay, thank you.
So, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, you're good. Senator Rob.
Have they spent any of this money already? So
Could you be more specific?
Like for what they're asking to move this money around, have they spent any of the money before requesting the line?
So the items that are being, that need to be purchased, this is a creation of a new line item, so they're transferring funds into a new line item, so there hasn't been money spent, they're taking money that hasn't been spent in other areas and funding a newly created line item.
Has someone from the organization spent money for these items that they're expecting?
I believe one has been purchased already.
Senator Bakri.
I just had a point of inquiry. If they were already leaning towards needing this new equipment, why didn't they request like in the first budget?
I honestly don't have an answer for that.
Senator McMillan.
that was a year ago, and if they're already planning budgets for what they typically do during the year, they're expecting to have to go to sporting events and things, so they have to budget for those. So if they have to go to events like basketball games, which that's kind of mostly what they do, there's no money for them to do equipment and stuff like that. So that's where they request CapEx and DFC.
I will say the second line item shift for $1,072.85 does mention that this will replace outdated equipment in an effort to avoid a future emergency replacement or CapEx fund request.
Senator Chenoweth.
I guess my main concern with this is just an organization taking pretty much the remainder of their budget that they haven't spent and then completely shuffling around to try and make use of everything one way or another. I don't know, I just, the thought of like in the future potentially, or it's at the end of every semester just trying to rearrange their entire budget lines to spend as much money as humanly possible.
Senator McMillan.
Yeah, I'm gonna live up to my superlative here. You guys just approved the past two, which is essentially doing the exact same thing, just in a smaller amount of money. And they weren't even kind enough to have a delegate come here and explain what they were doing with that money. We moved this money around in the Senate a lot. We approve budgets, and it's very rare that a representative actually comes and tells us what they're doing with it, both to the finance meeting and to the Senate meeting. The only difference here is the volume, and I think that's what's caught your attention. But in principle, it's no different than the two line item shifts we've already approved.
Yes, go ahead, Senator Lynch.
I think that this sets a bad example for other organizations to liquidate all of their fundings towards the end of the semester. And if we do this, that we would be setting ourselves up to liquidate other organizations.
Senator Clark.
I think that's a fair point to be made. The one thing I will say is, like in this scenario, they do have that budget left. It kind of would be a shame in certain situations if those budgets don't get to be used. There was extenuating circumstances this year with COVID. If this is something that organizations continue to do, the way to combat that is during the budgeting process, say, look, you guys moved a bunch of line item shifts around at the end of the semester. We're just not going to give you guys nearly as much money next year because this is something you can't be doing. So that's the way I feel you can combat that.
Just a point of information for senators that aren't aware, any money that isn't spent by organizations go into the DFC fund for next year. So if you're wondering, like, if we don't use this money, where it goes, that's where it goes. Senator Brown.
I think to, I guess, kind of support VUR's cause in transferring the funds to equipment. WVUR has expanded to even broadcasting like chapel services and stuff, which has not been something that they've been doing in the past. And it's helped the chapel out during COVID times. And I mean, like, we didn't spend that money going to the different basketball events. It was not their own fault. And it's possible that they couldn't even have moved that money because they didn't know whether or not tournaments and events were going to for sure not happen in person because, for example, the men's stuff did happen. So they might not have been able to transfer funds sooner and they had to do their own, process for their
organization.
Yeah. Senator Raimondi?
Oh, yeah, I don't have the information available to me, but just as a point of inquiry, if you have the number of, dollars difference that their budget is from the previous term to this term. It should be on like the master document, right?
Can you repeat your question?
What the difference is between what they requested in the previous term and this term? Is all coming from,
So last year, they requested 58,000 and were approved for 39,000. This year, they requested 50,000. Now, the way our budget is set up, I don't have what we started at, I have what they're currently at right now. So I'm guessing based on historical spending, it's probably around, at 35, 30, somewhere between 39 and 35,000.
I have for last year, they were allocated $31,231.58. And this, like, for the upcoming semester or year, sorry, they'll be allocated $31,231.58. So the same amount, yeah.
If there's no other points of inquiry, is there a motion to vote? Senator McMillan?
I had a point of
Yeah,
information.
go ahead.
I think Alex made some great points about the precedent, especially in what future Senate can do. We talk about precedent a lot here. It's been something that's come up a lot. Precedent is what you make it. If you recognize the extenuating circumstances here and allow a good thing to happen, a precedent won't be set if you guys don't allow it next year. It's all in the decisions we make, I think.
All right. Yeah, Senator Zaki.
I also would just quickly like to point out that WVUR falls under the Freedom of Media, so it doesn't necessarily follow the typical process that other organizations might. So it's not uncommon for those organizations to receive exceptions like this without, like Senator McMillan said, setting a precedent that's unfair for future.
All right, is there a motion to vote?
Motion to vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of, are we voting on just the single line item shift or all of them? Just the first one? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just voting on the first one.
For $3,590.77 from women's basketball to promotions and advertising.
All in favor, please raise your placard. Okay. All opposed. All right, and abstentions? Okay, that was 18-6-0. Do we need a majority or? It passes. Okay, that passes 18-6-0.
And then the second one is for $1,072.85 from ongoing organizational functions to office supplies. Because of COVID-19, our expenses for traveling and sporting events this year has been less. As a result, we are using this opportunity to replace much outdated equipment in an effort to avoid future emergency replacement or CapEx fund requests. Thank you very much.
Senator, is there a second?
Second.
All right, go ahead.
What office supplies do they need? Because they talk about equipment for promotions and advertising previous line, just so what exactly office supplies are they asking for? So they're liquidating to get a bunch of like standard office supplies. I feel like that's something that you consider for next year's budget, not this.
It seems, Ian can back me up on, or Senator McMillan can back me up on this, but I think they're requesting the like microphone stands and also the headsets.
Senator McMillan.
Yeah, so the predicted encumbrance request, thank you, would be for the headphones, microphone stands, I think also microphone like filters and stuff like that. And also the budgeting for next year is already.
Is there a motion to vote? Senator Robb?
That's what I say, that if they really needed more office supplies, they could have asked for it when they budgeted for this coming year. I don't like the idea of liquidating unused money to pay for office supplies.
Senator McMillan.
The representative from WVUR simply stated that office supplies was the best line for this, as there's not a equipment line or something like that. They're not gonna be buying Post-it notes with $1,000.
Are there any motions?
Second.
All right. All in favor, please raise your placard. Okay. All opposed? Abstentions? Okay. The vote was 15-8-0. Math. No, it does not.
No, there should be one
One more
vote, I think.
Okay. I think I missed one online. Can everyone online repeat what they voted? So in favor? Opposed? Okay, I missed one. So it's 18-7-0.
This would be, for the top one, it would be 15.
Is that-
Not.
Oh, wait, no. 15-9-0. Sorry,
Okay.
I can't do math. So does that pass?
I can get 18-6-0 for the first one, and 15-9-0. She got 15-8.
15, yeah, 15-8.
And then I got another no. So that was 15-9-0.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was 18, yeah,
18-6-0 and then
and then 15-9-0.
okay.
And then
Does that pass?
I don't know.
Yes, it
Okay.
passes. All right.
And then the final thing, this is kind of different. And if you want to open the floor to the treasurer for more information on this, feel free. We got an encumbrance request from WVUR for $873.25 for the uniforms that they mentioned earlier for their athletics, or to help them represent WVUR at athletic events. For this, Finance decided to amend it to they haven't purchased these uniforms yet. Finance decided to amend this to $300 in uniforms. This has never really been done before, so not quite sure if we hold a vote on this. Oh, we voted 4-0 for
For
this.
300, and what did they originally ask for?
$873.25.
Okay. Is there a motion to discuss? Is there a second? All right. Senator Raimondi?
So before we could go vote on this right now, we would be voting to approve the $300 that Farmers recommends.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Senator Rob?
Motion to open the floor to the treasurer.
Is there a second? Go ahead.
What's the policy on uniforms?
So in terms of clothing in general, we don't purchase clothing or any clothing related items. However, we do have a section of our bylaws for uniforms. Mostly those are for club sports event organizations such as club softball, ultimate frisbee, organizations that compete in competitions as like athletic uniform, or if there's like a uniform required for a conference retreat in which an organization needs to be professional for. In terms of like an organizational function, we've never really had uniforms for organizations. However, for instance, union workers here and RAs on campus do have their own uniforms, but they're not sponsored by them. Those are not covered by second funding. Those come out of the university's operating budget. So this is kind of where the vote comes in and what this should be funded around.
Senator Chenoweth?
Why finance decided to reduce this one?
Yeah, sure. So part of the conversation originally about these was whether it would fall under the uniform requirement, which, as Mark kind of just explained, it does. And then it was how many uniforms should they be able to purchase. And it was kind of down to, they said they wanted, where they got that $873.25 was from 27 uniforms, because they said that it would be different, people would need different sizes. The finance committee and other members of my committee can speak on this if I am misrepresenting what they said. But from the gist of our conversation was that we decided that this was a little bit too much of an amount for uniforms. So we decided that we would amend it to $300.
Senator Rob?
If I remember correctly, the reason we don't want to pay for clothing items is because we don't want to pay for people to get organizational t-shirts every year. We generally turn down those requests and projects. Unless they have a good reason for needing, like for travel, which it sounds like they haven't in the past, I don't think we should necessarily be opening that can.
Senator McMillan?
So the reasoning in finance was that it met the uniform requirement because number one, they are representing our university when they go to games and do the casting and things. Number two, these aren't t-shirts that they're going to give to their members who are then going to leave and take the shirts with them. The idea is that they would be checked out by members of WVUR, used and then returned, clean, I hope. And that it's not like, so the clothing clause in the bylaws, to my best understanding, is meant to combat an organization requesting a whole bunch of money and spending all that money on buying like 150, 200 t-shirts and then just giving them out to promote their organization. It, I don't think, was necessarily meant to combat organizations having clothing that they reuse and use. A prime example of this is the sports teams, in which they have uniforms that they use for games and they are left in the care of the organization and used year to year. Placed back in the locker. Other examples are dance groups have costumes that we fund, technically clothing, but they reuse them. I feel like the investment is well worth having our university professionally represented.
Senator Lurch?
I have a point of inquiry.
Mhm.
Don't we pay for UPC's t-shirts to wear to events? We don't, then that doesn't, then my point's irrelevant.
Okay. Senator Raimondi?
So when we had initially approved their line item trips of like the $3,600 and the $1,000, as one of the primary questions to avoid encumbrance requests, why is this being treated separately?
The reason, and maybe Mark could answer this better than me, but the reason it's being treated separately is because it was turned in as an encumbrance request to Mark instead of as like a line item shift for the $873.25. And it's kind of, I guess, how finance, the committee wanted to treat this issue by deciding to amend it to a lower amount.
Senator
Motion
Burns?
open for the executive treasurer remarks.
Just a second. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
I guess so. The line item shift is just the shifting of funds, but the encumbrance request is the spending of funds, so they can shift as much to, obviously, given the amount as they pass through finance approval and Senate approval. But the encumbrance request, it has to follow our bylaws, so they can shift, but if it doesn't meet our bylaw standards, it's just gonna be denied. So that's kind of why we're.
Is there a motion to vote?
Motion to vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please raise your placards. All opposed? It's 12, 11. Is that math? Abstentions. And one abstention. So that math adds up. President Sennheiser, what is the procedure for approval in this case? It's 12, 11, 1. Okay, so even with abstentions, that's majority. Okay, so this passes.
Alrighty, well, that is it for finance. Thank you all so much for your productive discussion, and I'm grateful to have served as finance chair this semester. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Carrizo. All right, moving on to Administration Committee, Senator Chenoweth.
Just really quickly, I wanted to update everybody on Beta Gamma Sigma's constitution from last week. I worked with their president and vice president to help them essentially rewrite their constitution, and they turned it into me. Everything checks out, meets all of our requirements. So they're good for recognition. And then after that, I just wanted to say thank you to the administration committee this semester for bearing with me as I learned how to pilot this committee through re-recognition, new member recognition, learning how to use presence, how to schedule things on Google Calendar, how to communicate with like 6 different people, which was new for me, and a myriad of other things. So thank you just for being patient with me. And I hope to continue working with all of you, either in Senate or just around campus in the next couple of years.
Thank you, Senator Chenoweth. Moving on to Committee on Media, Senator Burns.
Hi, everyone. My report is that this summer, Allison and I will be working on a how to make and spend your budget guide for media organizations, as well as some bylaw proposals. The bylaw proposals will be either I will take care of them if I'm reelected as committee chair, or the new committee chair will take care of those for changing interview deadline bylaws and advertising bylaws and report.
Thank you, Senator Behrens. Moving on to the Screening Committee, Senator Bakri.
All right, so we had some positions to fill. We needed 3 members for the Committee on Media as student representatives, and we had 3 applicants. The first one was Bella Pittman, and the Screening Committee approved her 2-1-0. And then we had Lizzie Messerschmidt, and we also approved her 2-1-0. And then our last one was Noah Savaskinski, and we approved him 3-0-0. Basically, all these candidates we thought had the skills needed to require it, and some of them even had previous experience working with media organizations. So we felt that they would be the best fit for these roles. Do we vote? Okay.
Is there a motion to discuss or a motion to vote? Senator Mazera? Oh, okay. Senator Raimondi? Okay. Motion, is there a second? Second. All right, so we're motioning to vote as a slate, so we're going to vote for all of them together. All in favor, please raise your placards.
Is this on the slate or?
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Senator Bakari, were you up? Okay. All opposed? Abstentions? All right, this passes 24-0-0. Oh, my apologies. Okay, so that was to vote as a slate. Now we're actually going to vote on all 3. So all in favor, please raise your placards. All right, all opposed? Abstentions? This passes 23-0-1.
All right, and then the other positions we had were executive board positions. The first position we were going for was executive secretary, and the screening committee voted 3-0-0 for Caitlin Shozy. Do I do one position at a time or all of them together?
I think we could probably vote as a slate. So, yeah.
All right, and then for executive treasurer, the screening committee also voted 3-0-0 for Mark Lorenz. And then for the assistant treasurer position, the screening committee voted 3-0-0 for Owen Doyle. For the PRC, the screening committee voted 3-0-0 for Chris Grimpy. And for webmaster, screening committee voted 3-0-0 for Macy Siegfried. And again, all these applicants we thought would be the best to fill these positions. Most of them have previous experience in these roles. And that's where screening committee voted.
Is there, yeah, go ahead.
What are the remaining two positions? You said there's 7 applicants, are these just ones that passed?
Those, yeah.
Is there a motion to vote as a slate? Is there a second? Okay, so you're voting to vote on all of them as a slate right now. Okay, all in favor, please raise your placards. All right, that passes 24-0-0. So now we will actually vote on a slate on all of the candidates that Emily or Senator Bakri mentioned. So all in favor, please raise your placards. All right, this passes 24-0-0.
And report.
Thank you, Senator Bakri, for filling all those positions. Moving on to Committee on Residents. Moving on to Dining Services Committee. Moving on to Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Moving on to DFC.
No report.
Moving on to Discount Card Committee, Senator Jones.
Hey everyone, so just kind of wanted to give a wrap up of what I've gotten accomplished. So I spoke with the majority of the businesses we had planned and some extra ones, and sadly a lot of them said no due to COVID and we're not interested in applying for next year. I got a few maybes, still waiting to hear back from them, and kind of just need someone to take over for the summer. So if anyone's interested, just let me know and we can get you through that since I'm graduating. Other than that, end report.
Thank you, Senator Jones. Moving on to Elections Committee, Senator Lurch.
I just want to thank everyone who participated or ran and voted in the elections. I'm really thrilled with how smoothly it went. And this is the first time I've ever served as a head of a committee before and the last time. So it was really fun. It was an honor. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Senator Lurch. Moving on to new business, seeing none, moving on to old business. Can the sponsors of BP 007 please come up? And just to remind everyone, this is the proposal calling for the change of Vusalisa to the Dean Jenkins Scholarship Fund. So at this time, the sponsors will be taking any questions. If you guys have any questions for them. If not, we can motion to vote. All right. All in favor, please raise your placards. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 23, 24. All right. This passes 24-0-0. All right. Okay, so now we are moving on to the ratification of all of the legislation for this past school year. This is something Senate does at the end of every year, and this just ratifies all the legislation that you guys really worked hard to create. So is there a motion to ratify our legislation? Is there a second? All in favor, please raise your placards. All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, this passes 24-0-0. Congrats, everyone. All right, now we're moving on to oaths of office. PRC Grimby, do you want to help with that, or how are we doing this? Okay. No. I also don't have them up, so I need to get those up. I thought, okay. Okay. Yeah, I've got it as well. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Just every individual position? No?
Okay, so since you cannot give people their oaths of office because you're taking an oath of
Okay.
office.
Do I sit down?
No, you stand up here because you're taking an oath of office.
Okay.
So I need all the new e-board members to stand up to take their oath of office. And is Ben here?
He is. Hey, Ben.
Are you ready, Ben?
Yes.
All right, repeat after me. I, name of office holder.
I, Jolie.
And Jacobs.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of name of position of Valparaiso University
that I will faithfully execute the office of Student Body President of Valparaiso University
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the interests of the Valparaiso University Student Senate
preserve, protect, and defend the interests of Valparaiso University Student Senate
and the student body of Valparaiso University.
and the student body of Valparaiso.
University.
Woo. And thank you, Ben, for joining us in the middle of the night for you.
Glad to be here.
All right, moving. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I will gladly sit down.
Sorry, Jolie, I'm taking over yet again. All right, moving on to form of concerns. Are there any form of concerns? Because I cannot see them.
No.
No, okay. PRC Grimpy, are there any form of concerns online?
No.
Okay. Moving on to postmortem. I just want to thank all of the senators for a fantastic year. Even though I can only be with you for half of it, I have been keeping up and you guys have been doing great this semester and last semester. I'm amazed on how well you guys stepped into your positions. A lot of you new senators, this has been one of the best years of Senate. I know on my time as Senate and probably before that as well. Our e-board has been just phenomenal. You guys have worked so well together and have accomplished so much. And thank you to our senior senators as well. You guys have done so much and we know Senate's going to miss you next year. Caitlin, President Steinheiser, you have been a phenomenal president. You have driven, and forgive me, it is 4:30 a.m., so I am very tired. But you have been just a driving force for Student Senate this year. You have battled for us, battled for the student body. You have taken on so much bad stuff, lack of words, in the past few months. But we are so appreciative of your work and we appreciate your willingness to take on all of this for the student body and for Student Senate. Thank you so much for all of you guys' work this past year, and I can't wait to work with you guys again in the coming semester. I hope you guys all have a good summer. We all deserve it. We survived a pandemic in school again. We all deserve a break. So congratulations, guys, on a fantastic year. Now, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All right, all in favor of adjournment, raise your placards, I guess. And then I'm sure everybody's going to be raising them. So with that, I adjourn the meeting at 9:30 p.m.
Yep. All right, you guys are free to go, or you can stick around